Last time we had one difficulty. We'll go back to that and then continue further after that, you see. This is about the spacious void. What I was telling you last time, 56.11. It was a no man's land of evil air, a crowded neighborhood without one home, a borderland between the world and hell. So he has given the geography of this no man's land, where the no man's land is lying between the world and hell, as per the description, between the world and hell in the cosmic manifestation. In the cosmic manifestation. For an individual, it will be between the subvital and inconscient. Subvital and inconscient. Now, there, unreality was nature's Lord. So, unreality is masculine, nature's Lord. It was a space where nothing could be true. Well, what was true was the only lie. For nothing was what it had claimed to be. Yes, I am this, but it was not that at all, you see. A high appearance wrapped a spacious void. Now, all the editions of Savitri before the revised edition have spacious, spacious void, wide, opening out, broadening in that sense, vision. But in the revised edition, 1993, as I suspected last time, it is specious, specious, specious. Specious, well, I checked whether they have given any reference and all that, but there is nowhere why it is changed from spacious to specious. Nowhere any reference is given, the basis for changing spacious to specious, you see. The only argument could be, if at all, that this is a dictated line. Shivendu had dictated this line, and in the process of dictating, the scribe might have misheard something like that. He might have taken spacious for specious, he might have taken spacious. You see, that is possible. Although both the words could stand in terms of their meaning and their content. Whether it is spacious or specious, both of them could stand. The only argument is if it is a dictated line, I have to check whether it is a dictated line or not. If it is a dictated line, then you can't really say much about it. But then, my argument again will be that although it is a dictated line, that line was read out to Shivendu a number of times as spacious. I know Nirod Baran will not pronounce spacious as specious, you see. He will not pronounce spacious as spacious, you see. And Shivendu had definitely heard the word as spacious in that sense, you see, even if it is a dictated line, you see. Now, the specious, the argument for specious, you see, specious can be argued because it is a deceptive thing. It is something which is true but making it look false. The word specious means having a ring of truth, but actually false. Specious means you are speaking as if it is a true thing, but actually it is a false thing. A ring of truth, but false. Apparently good or right, but lacking real merit. Lacking real merit. Plausible, but false. That is what the word specious means. specious means. Specious would mean. But in my opinion, again, specious void would not stand to metaphysical scrutiny. Specious void would not stand to metaphysical scrutiny. See, there is nothing in the void to make it look like that. It is a void after all. And it is a void which is absolutely true to itself. It is not going to pretend to be something. Void is not going to pretend to be something, you see. It is absolute negation, absolute absence completely. It is not going to pretend to be something at all. Otherwise, the idea of the void becomes meaningless, pointless. You see. So, I will say from the metaphysical ground, spacious is definitely the right word, the correct word, you see. Spacious, not specious. Although they have put in the revised edition SPECIOAS, you see. So I think we'll go by spacious, SPAS, and it gives this idea of vastness, broadness, completely, which is true. Now, mark here also, no man's land. Here, no is small, lowercase, and this is a hyphenated word. This is a hyphenated phrase, no man's land. And the no man's land is lying between world and hell, manifestation and the hell, you see. That is what it means, you see. Now with this one, because we are going to meet this no man's land again in the next section. So we'll get back now to our earlier portion. We'll just read the last sentence of the previous section and proceed further. All who were there lived for themselves alone. Obviously, all, as I told you last time, I will call this thing as the headless line. It is not all who, it is all who were there. So, in other words, the headless line may all stand by itself as an AM, and who were there as an anapest, lived for themselves alone, all warned against all, but with a common hate, turned on the mind that sought some higher good. Truth was exiled, lest she should dare to speak. You get out from here, otherwise you'll keep on speaking all kind of nonsense for us, you see. So truth was exiled, thrown out to the whole area, that area. Exiled, lest she stands for suppose truth, should dare to speak, and hurt the heart of darkness with her light. Truth's darkness, truth's light will definitely hurt the heart of darkness. So therefore the better thing is drive her out completely, you see. Or bring her pride of knowledge, Truth will bring her pride of knowledge to blaspheme the settled anarchy of established thing. So this is a holy thing, this anarchy is a holy thing, and anything against that is a blasphemy. Anything against that will be a blasphemy. So this is the description of the section, and then we have a new section, 57, 28 sentences, 99 lines, 753 words. It is a relatively short section, 753 words, you see. Then the scene changed after that anarchy and all that, but kept its dreadful core. That is not to change, you see. Altering its form, the life remained the same. By the way, that sentence last time which you saw, let's quickly go back. Yeah. We are talking about this one. Yet nothing could confess its own pretense, obviously, even to itself in the ambiguous heart. A vast deception was the law of things. Deception, that's all. Only by that deception they could live. All right. Then an unsubstantial nihil guaranteed the falsehood or the forms this nature took. Nahil guaranteed the falsehood, the form it has taken, and made them who made those creatures, those things.
The form, no?
Pardon me?
The form.
Form, yeah. And confess his own pretend, even itself in the neighbor's heart, and deception was the law of things. Only by that deception they could live. Those things could live. Okay. And unsubstantial nihil, as I said last time, he uses the word unsubstantial, not insubstantial, without substance, you see. And unsubstantial nihil guaranteed the falsehood of the forms this nature took, this fallen nature, and made them, these forms, made them, this form, a while to be that they are there, and live. I will call this thing as live, not live. It is live.
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 Why?
A while to be and live, living.
Be and live.
Live means they are living, bubbling, happy, like that, you see, in that sense.
Life, to be and live.
Yeah, to be, a while to be, yes, to be, and to be alive.
Alive.
In that sense, live, and they are living live, they are live.
But here it says to be and live.
Alive. See, earlier, then they could be live. Here we have got could be live. They could be live. Here it cannot be live. It has to be live. It has to be live.
No, because he said, make them seem.
Yeah.
They seem.
See, a while to be and to be live. Seem to be live.
No.
Living.
Live is correct.
No?
Grammatically, live is correct. Yeah.
I will call it live, living. They are living. To be and live.
It's verb, like he said. Live, as you say, it's a verb or noun? It's a verb? No, to be and to live. Live and see to live. As he is saying.
To be and
Live. It's no more.
No, to be. It is not to be. It is not to be. It is not. It is not to be and to live. It is to be and live. See, it means and made them seem a while. See, it would mean and made them seem alive. Sorry, and made them seem a while live.
What does mean live? No.
Live means living.
Alive.
Alive, yeah.
Alive.
In that sense.
Yeah, but live a lot, it exists in English?
Live can be live. It means living. Then the scene changed, but kept the dreadful core, its dreadful core. Altering its form, the life remained the same. The substance, the contents of life was the same thing. A capital was there without a state. Capital was there without a state, like Pondicherry. Pondicherry is a capital without a state. See, this is the correct example of.
But Pondicherry is a state.
It is not a state without a state. Pondicherry is a capital without a state.
No state? This is not a state?
No, without a state means there is no king, there is no ruler there. State. No sovereign, no ruler. You see.
That makes more sense. This is a sense, yeah.
In that sense. But here, of course, he makes it clear in the next line. It had no ruler, only groups, that's true.
Like always. No ruler, yeah.
He has clarified what that state means, you see.
Yeah, only always, like always.
So this is a perfect example of Pondicherry.
That's true.
And he has put S capital. S capital means the ruler, the king, you see, in that sense. He saw a city of ancient ignorance, founded upon a soil that knew not light.
is ancient ignorance.
Yeah, city of ancient ignorance.
What is this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I was wondering.
I am going to tell you. I am going to tell you.
Ah, spoil for me.
He saw a city, that capital, ancient ignorance. Ignorance which is born of inconscience. The ancient most ignorance. Later on, ignorance becomes less and less ignorant. Less and less ignorant. We are, when matter has life in it, ignorance has become less. When mind has entered into life, ignorance has become still less like that. Less and less. Ignorance becomes less and less, you see. But ignorance continues to be ignorance. So we are in a world of decreasing ignorance, in a stage of evolution of decreasing ignorance. Now, the termination of this ignorance will be when the higher power, the knowledge comes here. Then it will be again a progress of growth in knowledge, from knowledge to knowledge. Now our progress is from more ignorance to less ignorance. Later on it will be from knowledge to more knowledge, greater knowledge, higher knowledge, right, wider perspectives of manifestation. That is what will come here. So now the whole work which is going on here is making ignorance less and less. So the ancient most ignorance would mean definitely something which has come up just now from the inconscience. Which has come up from the inconscience. Now, actually, you go back to line 1.8. Then something in the inscrutable darkness stirred, darkness, a nameless movement, an unthought idea, insistent, dissatisfied, without an aim, something that wished but knew not how to be. Teach the inconscient to wake ignorance. Teach the inconscious, kind of kidded inconscience, stirs, do something. Teach the inconscious to wake ignorance. Something managed to tingle inconscient, and then ignorance arose. So the origin of this ignorance is actually this inconscient waking up slowly. And that is the ancient ignorance here. I would put it that way. This ancient ignorance would mean that. What we have got here. He saw a city of ancient ignorance. I mean, Ashwapati is going back to the origin of ignorance when it is just coming out of inconscience. And the city is where now? The city is located in the inconscience. The capital is located in inconscience, not in ignorance, but in inconscience. A capital was there without a state. It had no ruler, only groups that rule. He saw a city of ancient ignorance, founded upon a soil that knew not light. That makes it absolutely clear. Soil that knew not light, total inconscience, total darkness, total night. That is exactly what we have got. Darkness stirred, something darkness. In 1.8, we got that thing, you see. So, see, what it means is that Savitri explains Savitri. If you have something here, it will be explained somewhere. You have to go back. Savitri explains Savitri. You don't need anybody. If you read Savitri, Savitri explains Savitri. Everything is contained in that. He saw a city of ancient ignorance, founded upon a soil that knew not light. There, each in his own darkness walked alone. Only they agreed to differ in evil's path. Each one, well, I will do like this, I will do like this, but all of them will have evil in their mind, in their heart, in their operation, everything evil only. There is no problem about that. But then I will follow this path of evil. I will follow this path of evil. The paths may be different, but all the paths are of evil. You see, only they agreed to differ in evil's paths, to live in their own way, for their own self. In other words, they want to be absolutely individualistic in their own way, or to enforce a common lie and wrong. On everybody, each one will enforce, but in his own way, or to enforce a common lie and wrong. Their ego was lord upon his peacock seat. So ego is masculine. Ego was lord upon his peacock seat. So he is occupying the peacock throne and lord. And falsehood sat by him. Falsehood is mate. Falsehood is his mate. Ego is mate, you see. He is mate and queen. The world turned to them as heaven to truth and God. The way we turn to heaven for truth and God, same way the world, whatever was there in that part, they turn to ego and falsehood. Now actually, in the Purana, there is a description of Narad going down to the underworld, Patal, the lowest world, Patal. He goes once there, and there he meets sons of Diti. Diti means one who divides. Diti, the opposite of Aditi. The gods are the sons of Aditi, the hostile progeny comes from Diti. So he describes that Patal world, Narad. When he goes back to heaven, then people ask him, yes, what did you see in the Patal and all that? And he starts describing it. And there is a very beautiful, elaborate, long description of how things are happening in Patal. He says that the sons of Diti are worshipping all the hostile powers, asuras, titans, etc., evil, whatever is there, the way we worship gods. The way we worship God, the high people. So this is exactly the description of that thing, of Patal. The world turned to them as heaven to truth and God, you see. So Narad's description is perfectly correct. He has seen that thing and he has reported back, well, they are very happy, they are worshipping the Satan, the evil, or whatever you want to call it, the sin, and then things are happening. Injustice justified by firm decrees. Yes, it shall be so. It cannot be challenged. The sovereign weights of errors legalize a trade, but all the weights were false and none the same. Error is a she, feminine. The sovereign weights of errors legalize trade, but all the weights were false and none the same. Obviously, you think that this is 10 kg or 7 kg or 5 kg or whatever it is, milligram. No, it is not that. It can be anything, whatever you like, you see. And none of them is the same. We have got now at least all 10 kg would mean 10 kg only, you see. Maybe plus or minus something, but all 10 kg. The same. Ever she watched, she stands for error. Error is feminine. Ever she watched with her balance and sword, lest any sacrilegious word expose the sanctified formulas of her old misrule. She watched with balance and sword, so she is Libra, the goddess justice of the opposite kind. She has got the balance, holding everything properly in shape, so to say, and a sword. Balance means kind of equity, that I am true, I am fair to everybody. I am listening to everybody's arguments and I am fair to this one. So that is what the balance would mean. Sword, absolute authority. The sword means absolute authority. So error has both fairness and authority. The counterpart of God is justice. God is justice. In fact, that is how you depict God is justice, you see. Libra. Libra. Libra itself means weighing scale. Weighing scale. Balance, you see. Virgin goddess of justice, injustice, justice, purity, provision. Lady Justice, Justilia, scales, the balance, stands for fairness. Sword, her authority, her decision cannot be challenged. Her decision cannot be challenged. And of course, the Roman goddess of justice, she is blindfolded. She does not go by that. She goes by fairness. She is not prejudiced by seeing this man or that man. She goes by that, blindfolded. So she is blindfolded with a sword in her hand. I don't know whether the Roman goddess has the sword in her hand, but here there is a sword also. Means authority, absolute authority, you see. In fact, this is what we have got in the courts even now. Hammer. You just strike the hammer. Finished. The judgment is given. It cannot be challenged at all, the hammer. So hammer is the ultimate authority to proclaim something decided, firm. You see. Absolutely no challenge at all. So hammer is that which nails down everything. Every nail is pushed down with the hammer. The hammer is an instrument for nailing down all differences, all and fairness disagreement. It is like what they call it, Birmingham screwdriver. You heard of Birmingham screwdriver? It is a screwdriver, Birmingham screwdriver. It is a screwdriver which can be used for a variety of instruments. It is a knife, it has a screwdriver, every kind of a thing is there in that thing, Birmingham screwdriver. So hammer is a thing which will hammer out, nail down everything in that sense. Injustice justified by firm decree. The sovereign ways errors legalized the trade, but all the ways were false and none the same. Ever she watched with her balance and a sword, lest any sacrilegious word expose sacrilegious, we should challenge the law. The sanctified formulas of our old missiles, sanctified formulas, they have acquired a kind of a religious dogmatism, and anything which is spoken against that formula will be sacrilegious, will be challenged. Like orthodoxy. Orthodoxy has a fixed pattern, fixed laws. You cannot speak against anything against orthodoxy. That becomes sacrilegious, challenging, you see. In high professions, wrapped self-will walked wide, and license tucked prating of order and right. In high professions, wrapped self-will walked aside. Self-will walked wide. Self-will. This is what I should do. My will. And license. I am free to do whatever I want to do. License. Stacked. Move stealthily. As when I pray. Prating. Babbling. Uttering useless words of order and right. License is walking, prating of order and right, and self-will walking right. There was no altar raised to liberty. Well, obviously, because everything under that rule. True freedom was above and hunted down, but they knew that there is something like a true freedom to hunt and bring down. Harmony and tolerance nowhere could be seen. Each group proclaimed its dire and naked law. Each group, because there are only groups without a ruler. So the capital without a state. You see. Each group proclaimed its dire and naked law, a frame of ethics knobbed with scriptural rules, knobbed, put knobs on a door or something like that. A frame of a, so you have got a frame and you have got not to hold like doors, knobbed with scriptural rules or a theory passionately believed and prayed, a table seemed of high heaven sacred code. Well, it is a kind of a replica of what is being done in heaven, the counterpart of it in hell, in Patala, you see. So this is the opposite picture. Means it is a reflected image, the darkness and the falsehood of the lower world, of the upper one. See. A frame of ethics knobbed with scriptural rules. So you have got rules like that, and you have got knobs to manipulate things like that, you see. Or a theory passionately believed and prayed. A table seemed of high heaven's sacred, a formal practice made an iron shod. Formal practice made. Made means put on a garment. Male here stands for garment, not male order. Well, actually, let me give the exact meaning of this one. Male, flexible armor composed of small overlapping metal rings. Armor composed of metal ring. Looks or chain or scales. You have got a kind of an armor, you have got with rings or something like that, made that thing formal. Actually, many times they do like that. When they used to have one-to-one wrestling match, they used to put on that kind of a armor there, iron clothes, you see. Male, flexible armor composed of small overlapping metal rings or loops of chain or scale. A formal practice made an iron shod. Iron shod means with iron, made of iron. Gate to a rude and ruthless warrior kind. So this is what the warrior is doing now. Warrior is wearing that thing. Kind, drawn from the savage bowels of the earth. A proud, stern poise of harsh nobility. A civic posture, rigid and formidable. So it's a counterpart of this one. Bowels of earth. What a savage bowel, how cruel this phrase is. Savage bowels of the earth. A proud, stern poise of harsh nobility. See, you are proud and you are merciless, absolutely cruel, that kind of a thing. A formal practice made an iron sword, gay to rude and ruthless warrior, kind, drawn from savage bowel. See, basically this sentence means what? Gay to warrior, a proud, stern poise. The main sentence is this one. Gay to a rude warrior, a proud and stern poise of harsh nobility. That is the main clause, main sentence. Gay to rude and ruthless warrior, a proud, stern poise of nobility. With all his armor and all that kind of a thing. But all the private acts belied the pose. Power and utility were their truth and right. That is all they worshipped. An eagle rapacity clawed is coveted good. An eagle rapacity clawed is coveted. An eagle. I am eagle rapacity. Anapist, rapacity clawed, anapist is cow. I am eated good, anapist. An eagle rapacity clawed is coveted good. What a line. An eagle is very rapacious, a vulture He belongs very powerful. Actually, eagles are so strong, so the vultures are so strong and powerful, they can lift up a fox and attack him and kill him like that, just like that. Their talons are so strong, and their beaks also, you see. All these vultures are like that. Hawks, vultures, eagles. And eagle sharp-eyed, sees from distances. And eagle rapacity clawed is coveted good. Beaks, pecked, and talons tore all weaker prey. It's a very cruel picture, you see. Their sweet secrecy of pleasant sins, nature to obey, and not a moralist God. Well, that is their nature, and they are going by their nature. Not a moralist God who will tell you this is evil or this is God, you see. Inconscient traders in bundles of contraries. So they are traders dealing in the market of inconscience. In bundles of contraries, they did what in others they would persecute. They would not like you to do it, but then they would do it. When their eyes looked upon their fellow wives, and indignation flamed, a virtuous wrath. So if you are doing something against them, then they are very angry immediately of them. Oblivious of their own deep hid offense, mob-like, they stoned a neighbor caught in sin. According to them, if somebody is committing a sin, they will stone a neighbor. So this is what happened in the earlier world. If you are doing something wrong, you will be stoned completely. Even now, in some countries it happens. In the Muslim religions it happens. Even now, you see, if a woman does something wrong, she is stoned in the public. You see, even now, you see. Even now it happens sometimes. Mob-like they stone. A pragmatist judge within passed false decrees. Pragmatist judge. This is an exact description of Indian judiciary. Indian judiciary, a pragmatist judge within passed false decrees. You bribe him, and then he will give what you want, you see, whatever judgment you want, you see. That is exactly what happened in the case of revised edition when it went to the court, you see. When it went to the court, you see. Both worse iniquities on equities based. Iniquity on equities based. Now this is a very strong word. Iniquity on equities based. Gross injustice. Iniquity means gross injustice or wickedness. Infamy, depravity. That is what iniquity would mean. Equity, against that equity. Ideal of being just, impartial, fair. So here you have got iniquities on equities based, as if you are looking fair, but then you are doing gross injustice, complete injustice. That is the pragmatism. If you bribe the judge, he will do all that kind of a thing, you see. Now, what all this means is, a pragmatic judge within past false decree pose worse iniquities on equities based, reason ill actions just. You can always justify even the wrong actions, you see. Sanction the scale or the merchant ego's interest and desire. If you bribe him, that is what he will do all the while, you see. Now, this is a description of what we have got of evil. In Paradise Lost, Milton's Paradise Lost, evil be thou my God. That is what we got in Paradise Lost. Evil be thou my God. Satan, he is revolting against God. And then he is worshipping evil. And he says, evil be thou my God. I will follow you what you want, kind of a thing. This is exactly what you got. He will do be my the God. I will read those lines. He will be thou my God, Satan. So farewell hope. He has abundant hope. He wanted to be equal to God Almighty. It was not possible for him. So revolts against God. He gives up that hope. So farewell hope, and with hope farewell fear. I had some kind of fear for you, that fear also now farewell. Farewell removes, all good to me is lost. Evil, be thou my God. By thee at least, divided empire with heaven's king I hold. Let there be hell, and I will be king in hell. So heaven, God's empire will be divided, and I will be still a king there. So he says, "He will be my God. I will follow you, and I will become king." So that is the kind of a possession he has always got. Now, this is something very terrific. Divided empire with heaven's king I hold. He is king there in heaven, but I will be here, a king in hell. Milton Satan is a complex English Satan. He is an English Satan. Intelligent, he is very intelligent, very clever, practical. He is a good parliamentarian, makes good debates, has his thought more conceptual than metaphorical. How conceptual? Human intelligence to an angelic being. He has got that kind of intelligence. Now, what we see in Satan is a horrible coexistence of subtle and incessant intellectual activity with an incapacity to understand anything. To understand anything. What we see in Satan is the horrible coexistence of subtle and incessant intellectual activity with an incapacity to understand anything. This is a statement by C.S. Lewis, describing Satan's characteristic. This is something very good, equitable, legally valid, right, or something like that, you see. Now, actually, there are three things. First is sin. Evil is, of course, sin. What do you mean by sin? Sin is a deliberate act of doing something against God. Sin means doing something against God. A deliberate action against the will of God is sin. The will of God is there, you don't want to go by that, do something against that will of God is sin. Now that is something deeper than evil, you see. Now then, transgression. Sin is the act against the will of God. Transgression, repeating the same action, same sin, doing again and again something against the will of God is transgression. Is transgression. And then, pardon me? No, so multiple sinning is transgression. Then iniquity, a lifestyle of transgression. You continue to transgress is iniquity. Continue to do sin, the act of going against the will of God, continue to do that is actually what is meant by iniquity. Sin, a deliberate action against the will of God. Transgression, a repeated sin. Iniquity, a lifestyle of transgression, living a life knowingly opposing the will of God. In Matthew, St. Matthew 7:23, and then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work of iniquity. He is saying now, depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Iniquity. That is what it means. Will I progress unto them? I never knew you. Evil says, I never knew who you are. And therefore says, depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Now, what is iniquity? There is a definition of iniquity. Nightclub is a nest of iniquity. Nest of iniquity. You can do all kind of silly things there at night. Nest of iniquity. Ascribing volition of plan to God. See, so this is basically sin is the important thing. And therefore the Savior is more important. Sin means doing something against the will of God. What does the Savior do? He corrects that thing. He comes to remove that original sin. That is the original sin. To do something against the will of God is the original sin. The Savior, the Avatar, Christ comes to remove that sin. Not your sin and my sin, they are small, trivial things, kind of things, you see. But the original sin is something which has to be removed completely, you see. Means to do something against the will of God is the greatest sin possible. If the God's will cannot be executed, then nothing can happen. And who can remove that thing? Only the Avatar. The Savior comes for that purpose, you see. That is what we got in Nara's speech in the book of in Canto II of Book of Faith, you see. Will of God having a plan for humanity. Now, what does will of God mean? Will of God means it has a living plan for humanity. Will of God means it has a certain kind of plan for humanity. Evolution or what you want to call it, progressive manifestation. That is the will of God. Now, something which is against that will of God, against this progressive manifestation, is a sin. And the original sin is to go against that. And therefore, Christ comes and pays the price with his own body for that kind of a thing, you see, for the sin, you see. That is the real meaning of crucifixion, of God's crucifixion. You see. Now, the problem is, yes, will of God. In fact, that is exactly what happened in the case of Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost. Adam and Eve were living happily, very, very happily, plucking flowers, plucking apples every day in the Garden of Eden, endlessly, without any problem at all. But then comes Satan, because he wants to revolt against God, to have his own kingdom, like that, you see. And he entices Eve to eat that forbidden apple. Now, the point is this action of Satan also a part of the will of God? It is not. You don't know. It is. In a greater, in a deeper sense, that action is also a part of the will of God. You are revolting in that sense here. You are eating the forbidden fruit. You are enticed by somebody. Somebody has become an instrument for you to do that kind of a thing. It is also a part of the will of God in a much larger context. In a much larger. Why? Because otherwise Adam and Eve would have kept on plucking apples for eternity. Keep on doing the same thing again. The vital life is there. It has established some kind of harmony, but then there was no progress further at all. The mental awareness had to come. You have to be shaken out from that. And therefore the will of God comes in that place to shake you out from that position, so that a higher manifestation can come out. So in a certain sense, the loss of paradise is also an aspect of the will of God, so that from life plane you can go to mental plane, you can go to higher plane, you can go to higher plane. In that sense, in the broadest context, everything is an aspect of the will of God. Inconscience is an aspect of will of God. Ignorance is an aspect of will of God. There is nothing which is without the will of God, because it is for a certain purpose, for a progressive manifestation of the realities which should come into existence here. So will of God is something very powerful that way. And inequity is a kind of a transitional phase. Transitional phase. A pragmatist judge within past false degree, pose worse iniquities on equities based, reason all actions just, sanction the scale on the merchant ego's interest and desire. Thus was the balance kept. The world could live here. A zealot power pushed the ruthless skulls. A faith not theirs, but scourged as heresy. They questioned, captive, tortured, burned, or smote, and forced the soul to abandon the right or die. Soul must abandon the right or must die. They questioned, I am. Questioned, kept, I am. Lived, taught, I am. Burned, I am. Last is a anapist. So we got I am. They question, I am. Last is an anapist. And for the soul to abandon right or die, forget about yourself. Amid her clashing creeds and warring sects, religion sat upon a blood-stained throne. So religion is a she. Religion is a she. Clashing creeds, that is what happens. All the creeds are clashing. Even in a religion, it's in your own religion, same religion, there are creeds and creeds, you see. Clashing and warring sects. Religion sat upon blood-stained throne. The medieval Christianity is a blood-stained throne. Islam, the conquest of the world, with a sword in hand, that is a blood-stained throne. 100 tyrannies oppressed and slew and founded unity upon fraud and force. Only what seemed was prized as real there. The ideal was a cynic, ridiculous, but this is what happens. If you go in clumsy people and start noble things, high things, beautiful things, all that thing, they will make a ridicule you completely, you see, it happens. Hooted with a crowd, mocked by enlightened wits. Well, even the wise men will talk and mock at you. Hooted with a crowd, mocked by enlightened wits. This is exactly what happened on Christ's journey, carrying the cross. Hooted with a crowd and mocked by enlightened crowd. You were talking about this and this, now this is what people are saying of that thing. This is a complete description of the crucifixion line. Hooted by the crowd, mocked by the enlightened. Spiritual mocking, spiritual seeking, wandered, outcasted, outcast, C-A-S-T-E. It is outcasted, past participle, outcast, thrown out completely. Spiritual seeking was outcasted. Very unusual kind of a phrase here, outcasted. Spiritual things were outcasted, were thrown out completely, say. a dreamer's self-deceiving web of thought, or mad chimera, dim, a hypocrite's fake, his passionate instinct trailed through minds obscure, lost in the circuits of the ignorance. Well, this is an elaboration of the same thing. You see. A lie was there, the truth, and truth a lie. A lie, absolutely monosyllabic lie. A lie was there, the truth, and truth a lie. Perfectly iambic line. A lie was there, the truth, and truth a lie. At the same time, the monosyllabic line has a kind of a length in this one. You see, it's a very unusually long line. A lie was there, the truth, and truth a lie. It kind of comes with a hammering stroke which you see on the thing. A lie was there, the truth, and truth a lie. Very direct description, very powerful, direct description. No ambiguity of saying deviously. Now this reminds us of what we said, what we saw last time about Macbeth's witches, three witches in the opening scene of Macbeth. What we saw, no? What do the witches say? They say, fair is foul and foul is fair. Fair is foul and foul is fair. Exactly the same. A lie was there, the truth, and truth a lie. Complete echo of Macbeth's line, you see. But see the difference between the style and the content and the rhythm and the kind of an assuring certitude which is there in the epic line. A lie was there, the truth and the lie. It doesn't falsify anything at all. Whereas you have got fair is foul and foul is fair. It shows mischief. That phrase, that line from Shakespeare is full of mischief. You don't see mischief here. A lie was there, the truth, and truth a lie. You don't see mischief in this line, you see. Whereas in Shakespeare's line, you see obviously kind of a clear mischief being played there, you see. In this line, there is no mischief at all. In other words, there is a kind of redeeming possibility of this situation, out of this situation. A lie was there, the truth, and truth a lie. Maybe it is a fact today, but then there is a possibility of redemption. You can get out of it and reverse the whole thing. That truth becomes truth, that truth is truth, and truth is truth. There is no lie at all. That redemption is possible here in a line like this. There is a redeeming feature in the whole evocation of this whole phrase. A lie was there, the truth, and truth a lie. Fair is foul and foul is fair. You don't have that redemption at all. In fact, the whole of Macbeth is full like that completely. There is no redeeming feature at all in Macbeth completely. It means that here you have got a redeeming possibility. Although it may look ugly, bad, repulsive, whatnot. No, it's not like that. There are something better things also available. A lie was there, the truth, and truth a lie. It has a positive tone, I will say, in that sense. Although it is giving a very devastating kind of a picture, but behind it there is a possibility of something very beautiful, something truthful happening. You say, here was the traveler of the upward way. Therefore, the traveler of the upward way, Ashwapati is climbing the ladder upward way. For daring hell's kingdom wind the heavenly road. Upward way, for daring hell's kingdom wind the heavenly road. The heavenly road winds daringly hell's kingdoms. The sense here is the heavenly road winds daringly hell's kingdoms. Daring, it dares hell's kingdoms and winds the heavenly road. That is what the line means, you see. Very powerful construction. For daring, I am hailing kingdom I will say first foot is an am, second foot is an am, third foot kingdom wines is an amphibrach. Sorry, critic. Long, short, long. Kingdoms wine. The hey, I am, live. Last foot is an anapist. But daring, hell's kingdom, wind, the heavenly rule, pause or pass slowly through that perilous space. Yeah, this is what he must do. The traveler on the upward way, he must pause and slowly through that perilous space, a prayer upon his lips and a great name. That is the only safety when you are going through that kind of a region. Safety is prayer upon your lip and the great name, chanting the name constantly. What kind of prayer? What kind of prayer? Huh? Yeah. Lord, Lord, thou alone art, thou alone art, thou alone art, thou alone art. That's the only kind of prayer. You are there alone, nothing else. I don't need any prayer. I am not going to ask you, save me, protect me. No, not that. Lord, 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 you alone, you alone, you alone. That's the name. That is the power of the name. Vishnu. You chant the name of Vishnu constantly. Vishnu. Even in the darkest part, if you go, chant the name. If you remember the name of Vishnu, finish. Absolutely. Chant the name. See, prayer upon his lips and the great name, Lord Vishnu. Actually, we have seen earlier. Now, this is passing to the hell. What is useful to pass safely through hell is a prayer and the name. We have seen earlier, in the case of Satyavan, he is dying, he is on the deathbed. Sorry, he is in the lap of Savitri and he is about to die. And he says, lean down, my soul, kiss me, my soul, while I die. Lean down, my soul, oh, and kiss me while I die. And before that he says, Savitri, Savitri, oh Savitri, lean down, my soul, and kiss me while I die. So for him, who is going to say? What is that name? That great name for him is Savitri. For Satyavan, that great name is Savitri. Lean down, my soul will die. Savitri, Savitri, oh Savitri. Now, the name Savitri is entirely in the context of death. In the context of death. He is seeing death standing there, and who can save him from death? Only Savitri. That name alone, nobody else, not even Vishnu. Savitri alone. Whereas here, great name, the name of the Lord, is while you are passing like a traveler through a certain region. It is not that you are meeting and seeing death in front of you. You are passing through a certain region and you want to kind of a protection with you. It is for that purpose you have got the name here, you see. Name. Vishnu, that is the name, you see. 64.43. Arousing consciousness in things inert, he imposed upon dark atom and dumb mass the diamond script of the imperishable. He, of course, stands for Ashwapati here. Imperishable, inscribed on the dim heart of fallen thing, a paean song of the free infinite. And the name, foundation of eternity. So what is name? Name is foundation of eternity. The great name is the foundation of eternity. And it is that he is inscribing on matter, on base. Diamond script, he is writing on that kind of a thing. So it is that foundation of eternity, it is that which you have to call back. A prayer upon his lips and great name, foundation of eternity. So eternity itself is founded on the name. Eternity itself is founded on the name, you see. And then we have got 106.6. Sorry, 106.8. Narada is coming down from paradise, visiting Ashwapati's palace, Madura. He sang the name of Vishnu and the birth, and joy and passion of the mystic world, and how the stars were made and life began, and the mute region stirred with throb of his soul. That is Vishnu's creation, for the creation. So I think the other one, foundation of eternity, is more appropriate in our context, whereas this is something like a passage. Vishnu's name is for an evolutionary growth. Vishnu's name is for an evolutionary growth, whereas foundation of eternity is something absolutely basic, going down into the inconscience. Here must traveler, here must the traveler of the upward way, for daring hell's kingdoms wind the heavenly rule, pause or pass slowly through perilous stream, a prayer upon his lips and a great name. So you see, with that kind of a frightening picture which you had, evil, error, religion, all those things, you have started seeing now the redeeming part of it, you see, in Savitri. If probe not all discernment's keen spear point, he might stumble into falsities, endless net. Now, this is the saving clause. Who can save you? Prayer and the name. How do you say that? Unless you have got discernment. You should know the discernment that something is going to be wrong with me, something is going to be frightening, something is going to be dangerous for me. You have to have that discernment, and at that moment of time, you should be able to remember the name, you should be able to remember the prayer. That alertness has to be there, that discernment has to be there, you see. Now, the discernment here is important. See, I mean, he is not a passive traveler. He is quite alert to all the things around him, the entire situation. He is alert to that, and there has to be no this, yes, this. He should be able to discern that thing immediately, like that. You see, discernment is a very crucial thing here. Discernment in Sanskrit is dakshina. You have to be daksha, attentive. You have to be attentive all the while. Although there are evil forces, every kind of a thing there, you have to be attentive all the while. If probe not all discernment's keen spear point, he might, you are probing with what? With discernment's spear point, fixing. Discernment is a spear, and you are probing each and every situation with that spear point. If you don't do that kind of a thing, you might stumble into falsities endless net. So you have to have the spear of discernment, use the spear of discernment's point to probe here, there. Is this here, is this here, like that. Everywhere you have to do it. Very picturesque picture, see. He probed not all discernment's gain point. He might stumble into falsities endless net. Now, how does one get that discernment? Yes, all right. You have to have discernment. You can use this. The discernment is a spear. You can use the spear and point each and everything, this or that. Otherwise, stumble and go away. But how do you get that discernment? Now, it is only by spiritual will, spiritual power, by some kind of a tapasya that you can acquire that discernment. By some kind of a yoga tapasya, it is by that you can acquire that spiritual quality or discernment. It does not come just like that, you see. You have to develop that power within you, that occult element has to come within you, that you should be really spiritually great to establish that discernment within you. Once you have got that discernment, you immediately know what is right or wrong, what should be done or what should not be done. You immediately fix up straight away with a spiritual discernment. You don't have to argue at all, this way or that way at all. You don't have to feel, you don't have to be attached with anything. You can immediately with the discernment say, yes, this should be done, this should not be done, like that. Immediately. So it is by some kind of an intense spiritual tapasya that discernment can be nourished, can be made grow also, expand also in every way, discernment. But that is a very difficult job. Yogic tapasya, to develop that kind of a discernment, to make a distinction between evil and good, is not an easy job. To make a distinction between evil, which is absolutely at the bottom of the thing, and good there. You cannot make it. For us, small little creatures like us, the only safety for us is our psychic awakening. Go by the psychic being's prompting. For us, it is not discernment of that kind or spiritual tapasya, but psychic perception of things. Immediately the psychic should come forward and say, this is good or this is bad. You cannot taste it, you feel it with the psychic being. You figure it out, you hear different kind of sound. Yes, this should be done like that. The psychic being will tell you. And if you are really firm yourself, if you are really given to your psychic being's promptings all the while, you are safe. You are safe. Psychic being will tell you whether you should go in this lane or in that lane or not, whether you are going down or not. Psychic being will tell you immediately, you see. Whether you are wandering in the valley of wandering gleam, is what you have got. Intermediate zone, as it called. If you are wandering, the psychic being will tell you immediately. So for us, for small little creatures, the gift of psychic being is absolutely beautiful, most precious kind of a gift, and we had to go only by the promptings of the psychic being. Spiritual discernment is a great thing for great tapasvis, for great yogis. Over his shoulder often he must look back like one. That is what it comes with discernment. You are looking, is somebody good or bad is coming in front of him, back, you see. Over his shoulder often he must look like one who feels on his neck an enemy's breath, else stealing up behind it, treacherous blow might prostrate cast and pin to unholy soil, pierce through his. So basically for us, the only thing is develop the psychic perception. Discernment by yogic power, if you are given to yogic spiritual tapasya, of course, wonderful.
What is a Sanskrit for discernment?
Huh?
A Sanskrit word for discernment.
Discernment,
Sanskrit.
be able to make a distinction.
No, Sanskrit.
Sanskrit.
Sanskrit, Daksha.
Dakshina. Huh?
Daksha.
And, what
Dakshina.
Viveka?
No. See, beyond the mind, the first spiritual plane is Dakshina. Discernment. Then comes higher mind, illumined mind, intuition, overmind. They start climbing up later on. So that is the spiritual hierarchy. The spiritual hierarchy begins with discernment. Dakshina. So you have got the Sanskrit names are Dakshina, Ila, Saraswati, Mahati, Mahi. Dakshina, Ila, Saraswati, Mahi. These are the spiritual planes. They are the Vedic planes, Vedic descriptions of these. Vedic Rigveda speaks of these goddesses, Dakshina, Ida, Saraswati, Mahi, the higher and higher levels of awareness and consciousness and cognition, you see. In Shivandhu's nomenclature, it is higher mind, illumined mind, intuition over mind, inspiration over mind. In Shivandhu's nomenclature, you see. So that discernment is a spiritual quality, whereas the psychic is the inner quality. So I think for us the safer thing is the psychic part.
What about Viveka? Viveka.
Vivek. Vivek could be mental.
Could be?
Could be mental.
Oh, mental.
Yeah.
But it is also
Yeah.
discrimination.
Vivek could be mental. More. See, Viveka and Vijnana, they are different. Viveka could be kind of analytical.
Kind of?
Analytical. Sabha?